Ever get that feeling of missing out? You stumble upon an interesting article, podcast or video and you feel the urge to save it somewhere. But the anxiety kicks in. What if you can't find it later when you need it? Here are a couple of questions to ask yourself first. Do I really need to save this, or can I search for it later? If you can find it faster with a quick Google search, then digging through your note-taking app, don't bother saving it in the first place. If I do need to save it, do I know where and how to store it? If you already know which app to use, do you also know the best way to store it there for easy retrieval later? In today's video, we'll dive into these questions, using two concepts from our ICOR methodology, the capturing beast and the difference between shallow and deep thinking. I show you my process using Reader, Tana and Heptabase, so you can see how these tool agnostic concepts work in real life. By the end, you'll have a new approach to handling information and the tools to capture and retrieve it effectively if you need some inspiration. So let's get started.
Paperless movement, your productivity, your way.
In order to easily capture information and explain to you the differences between shallow and deep thinking, I will borrow the magic slides from our PKM Like a Pro course of the ICOR journey inside our membership, as this will be a lot easier to understand, right? So what you see here, that's one of our magic slides in the intro section of the workflows of the PKM Like a Pro course, and there we go through the knowledge management cycle. Obviously in this video I won't dive deep into all the things that you learn in the course, but we will focus today on the capturing beast, which is here, and the shallow and deep thinking system here. You see there's also a deep thinking system here as well. I will explain in a moment why this is appearing here as well. But now first let's focus on the capturing beast and the workflow itself. In general, this is the FOMO, that's the fear of missing out, okay? Whenever you see something coming across, what is this in the discover part of the knowledge management cycle? Well, was it on purpose? So do you do research for a project? Do you do research for research paper or whatever? Then it was on purpose. And then you know exactly what you've been looking for and you know where to place it, all right? And where to place it we come in a moment in the capture part. You see there's discover before capturing. That's very important. However, what we talk about today are the random things appearing. Those articles and videos and so on, those go into the capturing beast, and this happens in your brain in order to instantly understand where to place it. And maybe you have watched the other video where I showed you how I implemented the capturing beast inside Heptabase. So if you want to go into more detail there, how I use it in Heptabase, I recommend the video and I will put it in the description below. But here I will stay a bit more on high level, all right? So here, the capturing beast. Let's go to the capturing beast magic slide from the PKM Like a Pro course. Here we explain the capturing beast. The capturing beast is split into three buckets: the current projects, the key elements and the topics. We start on the right side. Topics are just your general interests. These are really just things that you might do in the future that you are generally interested in and you wanted to follow and things like that. Those can be thousands. And this is where you place this in this bucket. The key elements are the really important things in your life. All right, your family, your job, your business, things like that, ongoing things. If people take this away, it would interrupt your life, it would interrupt your business. You would really lose very important information. And these are the key elements here that you would store there. And current projects are projects that you're currently working on. Maybe in your business, in your work life, these are projects as well. But don't misunderstand those projects with the action part in the project management software. These are the projects that you're collecting information about, all right? That you really want to move forward in your life, so you want to spend time there. So there is a prioritization, as you can see. That's the ultimate goal of the capturing beast. So some random thought comes in, okay? And you see some article. In your mind, you immediately would think, where would I place this? In a topics bucket, in a key elements bucket, or in a current projects, all right? So if this is a new topic that you never heard about, but it sparked your interest and you have the feeling you need to save this, maybe you have some time later on to watch this, then it would go to the topics. Just create a new topic about this area and in there you can store this. Obviously, depending on the app that you use, or it could be a folder, it could be individual note, whatever. But the fact is that you place a topic in here. And we recommend, even if in here are thousands of topics, to focus only on 3 or 4 topics at a time. So this doesn't mean that you cannot collect information about other topics. So whenever they come across and you have the urge to save them, then you instantly know where to save it. However, with 3 topics in mind, it just sparks the interest. It shifts the focus whenever you watch YouTube and you're on the web, or you're watching TV or whatever. So your focus is around these 3 topics, all right? So you will easier collect information about things that are really relevant for you right now and that you're really interested in, hobby-wise, all right? However, if a topic becomes a real thing, so for me, it is programming. I was trying to program for a long time. Well, actually for a decade on off, doing courses and all the things. And this was a topic, all right? So now I moved it to a project because I really want to learn programming. I see a lot of benefits there and I made great progress. I know now C# programming and things like that. And this was only possible by shifting my focus on this topic. So therefore it was no longer something like, whenever something comes across, I will save it there. By moving it to the project, and there's a project I want to learn C# programming, C# development, then this means that I will work on this daily. And even if it is just 30 minutes a day or something like that, but I force myself that I at least once a day program quickly something and keep things running. And this really forces that I become better in programming. That's the only way. So you cannot have these 1,000 things and become best at all in all these things. So that's when you move this over. Oh, obviously there are also the important projects. We are writing, for example, a book in the paperless movement. The ICOR methodology will become available as a book. And if you're interested, let us know in the comments below. And we cannot wait to announce it officially. But obviously for Paco and me, there are projects in here writing this book and collecting information about this, how to publish a book and so on. Before that, it was already in topics because it was something that we had on our plan for nearly 2 years. And we thought, okay, maybe once the moment comes, but now we are really serious and will get published this year. That's the thing. And it only works if we push things towards action. And that's what ICOR is all about, moving information to action. And the key elements, that's just an ongoing thing, as I said. And if you go to the video that I mentioned before about Heptabase, I show you exactly how I do this in Heptabase and where I place information and so on. And now we are talking about shallow and deep thinking, which is a combination of Tana and Heptabase. Again, we'll just talk about this on high level in this video, but be sure if you subscribe to this channel that you will see future videos where I show you the tools themselves, how I move things over to the different tools and so on. Okay, so here we have the key elements like, for example, relationships or friendship or things like that where I want to improve myself. Self-improvement things come in here, things like that. Okay, now let's bring in the tools. And now I want to explain you quickly how this is set up. And that's really key. That's where people always think, man, you're using so many different tools and I want to use just one tool and so on. We figured out it's impossible for us to just use one tool because one tool always has its limitations. And there will never be the one and only tool because shallow thinking and deep thinking are already 2 different things. The type of information. So that's what we want to look at right now. Okay, so let's dive into this. The key here we want to understand is that the capturing beast, these 3 elements are set up in all these tools. And when we set up shallow thinking to deep thinking, then it would look like this. Okay. Yes, and let's make here shallow and deep thinking. Okay. So there's a gradient. And now when we think about the things that we are afraid to miss out, okay, whenever we see an article, this usually goes into the Reader Read Later app. And here it's really key. This is where people have their URL dump, or they just save things for the sake of saving it. And if it gives you the feeling, well, at least I saved it and you are satisfied, that's okay. However, we optimize the setup in order to leverage our systems. And the ultimate goal is really to collect all the information that sparks interest, having the topics especially inside Reader. So it's easy to sort it. Whenever you save something, a website or something like that, you can give it a tag, which is then the topic. And therefore, whenever I move the topic into a project and I become really serious about this topic and I want to master it, then I have already a wealth of knowledge that I collected around this topic on autopilot. Because whenever something came across, I knew where to store it, but I also knew it's not in my focus right now. In my focus right now are the current projects and obviously the key elements. But whenever it comes into my focus, I have a kickstart here in my Reader and also in Tana. So Tana I also consider a shallow thinking system. And the amazing thing about Tana is the way to capture information. It's really easy to capture information, especially on mobile. I can easily write things down. I also add meeting notes here. To me, this is shallow thinking when it comes to personal knowledge management. So meeting notes in the personal knowledge management system should always be something that is related to myself. So for example, I have some insights about an employee, or I have some ideas about my career, things like that. During the meeting, that goes into Tana. Anything else goes into the BKM, the Business Knowledge Management System. So if you check out ICOR, you see the ICOR framework, and there you see we differentiate between personal knowledge management and business knowledge management, as well as personal project management or task management and business project management. Here we are really just in the personal area. There's nothing about team performance or sharing information with others. This is just my own bubble here. If I start in Tana on my day-to-day location and I write something down because I thought I had a quick thought, and then I keep writing and I see this thought really expands and evolves, this might become the moment where I move this thought into the deep thinking system. So inside Heptabase, I have a lot more features that help me to better understand a complex problem. So Tana is an outliner. An outliner is not just a simple bullet list and you can intent and detent. It is a lot more complex than that. You can move around things much faster. And again, let me know in the comments below if you want to see more Tana videos where I show you this in more detail. However, it's a perfect outliner, and I could replace Tana here with Workflowy or Dynalist or tools like this. Those are all real outliners that helps to quickly capture information, to restructure thoughts very quickly, a speed of thought as we always say, and to capture things very quickly. But then they really become limited when it comes to formatting, long form text and all this. So this is where it moves to Heptabase, and there we have cards and the long form text, but also we have the whiteboards, as you see in this video that I made about myLifeOS and Heptabase. I can understand complex information much easier. Another deep thinking tool would be then Miro. That's what I'm using here right now to show you this video here, to explain you this. So that's why we are using Miro, right? Especially as a team, there's, in my opinion, nothing better than using Miro to handle complex topics. So Paco and I, we've been hours. I mean, the longest was, I think, 8 or 10 hours. We had meeting after meeting, sitting in Miro, thinking about ICOR methodology, the ICOR courses, how we set up the membership. All these things were established and built in Miro. And usually the thing is, what we say in ICOR, In the personal knowledge management, there's where you develop your ideas and your thoughts. And once they are ready, then you move it into the BKM, the business knowledge management system, to share with the team. And now let's go back to this. This would be here the idea incubator. That's in the business world, as you can see. Here you share your ideas, but these are already refined thanks to your PKM system here. All right. Thanks to the Thought Lab, also something we won't cover today, but is part of the PKM ICOR Pro course. So let's stay here quickly and let's have a look. The capturing beast. Okay, we discover something. It's something random that just comes across, and then my thought is immediately, oh, what is it? Where does it fit into? Any of the topics that I have? Do I need to create a new topic? Is something I never came across? Is it anything related to my key elements or to my current projects? You see, I immediately, in a tool agnostic way, know where to place the information. Now I just have to know the tools that I defined that are holding these buckets. So is it something shallow that I just want to collect, especially if it is a topic related thing? Well then, I just save it to read later and that is it. Or is it something that I know already? I'm working on a project that is established in Heptabase because it's very complex. Well then, I save this to Heptabase. Or I save it to Reader or Tana because it's easier to capture, and then process this later into my deep thinking system, Heptabase. And this is where this capture part comes into play, all right? We love inboxes, and that's why we keep saying inboxes are so important, and that's a bit of a downside in Heptabase. There's still no inbox. I cannot just simply send something to Heptabase and it appears in an inbox that I can process. And the best way to describe an inbox is think about your email management software. There you always have an inbox. And I know many have thousands of items or emails in this inbox. But once you get the understanding and the advantage of having an inbox and how to process it effectively, this becomes so powerful and you will never have hundreds of emails in there anymore at all. And this is where we are in the action world already. In the task management system, there we're talking about routines, and that you have to set up these routines in order to process the inbox and things like that. So if you're interested in this is really something where you have to go through the ICOR journey, the ICOR methodology end to end to set up your productivity system end to end. Then you will see everything works together. But today we focus on this personal knowledge management world here. And now we're in the capture part. So let's stay with Reader and Heptabase. Let's bring in the tools actually. So the thing is, Miro is not something that I would appear here, that I would add here. Why? Because Miro is really something I open up a board and I start thinking about this. The moment I use Miro. Miro is really a blank canvas because there's no more knowledge management going on. Yes, I can connect different items inside Miro, but this is not something where I can really establish these buckets that I explained and things like that. Obviously, you can set up the system in any tool, but therefore we keep this outside now and we remove it from here because these are the three tools that come to my mind whenever I have something random appearing. Okay, Reader, Tana, Heptabase. Again, if it is something shallow, it goes into Reader or Tana. If it is something for deep thoughts and deep thinking, it goes into Heptabase. So I think about what bucket from the capturing beast and what tool, and therefore what thinking system, all right? In order to help me better understand this, I can keep proceeding through this. So first of all, it's all about capturing. You just want to capture the thought. So I captured it now in Reader and it sits in my inbox, okay? So we haven't done anything with this information yet. In Tana, maybe I have spoken up any audio message or something and send it to Tana and that was it, or some image or whatever, and I send it to Tana and that's it, and it's sitting there in the inbox. So we won't take over Heptabase here because this is really something, if I capture anything in Heptabase, then this is already the final destination. It's my deep thinking system, so that's the final destination. So if I have the time and I'm sitting on my desk and I know this is some information that I want to have in a specific project or whiteboard on my Heptabase, Then I open up Heptabase and I will place it there, and we come to this in a moment. However, anything, and we've been talking about these fleeting thoughts and URLs that pop up and so on, goes into Reader or Tana. So now we have the inboxes filled in Reader and Tana, okay? So now we need to process these inboxes. So I go through these items step by step, and for each item I ask myself, is it worth it to keep it? Was it just something that I was excited a day before or maybe a week before? And now I'm seeing it again, I think, I don't know why I saved this. Let me know if it is you as well, having these insights that you thought, okay, I was really excited about this topic one day, but on the other day I just thought, well, it's not so important. Well, then keep your things clean, and that's great. It was just in an inbox, it didn't move anywhere else, and you can just discard it or archive it if you just want to keep it still in your system. If it is worth it to keep it, well, then move it to the bucket from the capturing beast. Is it a key element? Is it a project? Is it a topic? All right. And is it worth to distill? So is it just, a long article? Is it worth reading the article and really extract information? Yes or no? If not, this is it. Keep it in your shallow thinking system. Maybe you highlighted a few phrases inside Reader, and therefore it appears in Readwise, and therefore you have the serendipity. It will pop up there. But in general, whenever, as I mentioned before, whenever you start thinking about a topic and you want to move this to projects, this is the place, okay? Serendipity. You start searching for a topic, and now everything relevant to this topic that you already collected is already there in your shallow thinking system. However, if you have the feeling that this can be already distilled, okay, inside the bucket, then you process this further, and it goes through the thought lab. Again, something we are not diving too deep into this here, but you can refine this. So for example, as I said, you have the article in Reader, you start highlighting things and making notes inside in the Reader Read Later app. And then that's where you develop the thoughts. But do you need to take any action on this information? And that's an important question that we ask in ICOR on any type of information. If not, well, keep it in the shallow thinking system, so it's ready whenever it's needed. Same for Tana, if I made some random notes or audio messages, maybe I just want to summarize this now, so it's already distilled and refined. Does it need to take action? Well then, we move on to the action part, and now you see here's the deep thinking system showing up. Why is this in the action part? Well, because moving the information from your shallow thinking system into the deep thinking system is an action. And therefore, you can either do it or you can plan it out in your task management system. This is it. Or it is something that needs to be shared with the team, and therefore you start sharing it. And then you have here the team and then the idea incubator and the other things. But the key thing is here really that we want to understand, and let's move now here, Heptabase, okay. The key understanding here is prioritization of information and understanding the different types of information and realizing that we have several single source of truths in at least my setup and Paco's setup, and that we recommend many to split these into the different shallow thinking and deep thinking systems. You might have several deep thinking systems, as I showed with Miro, for example, as well, right? Where you have different types of information. One you're using for, literature research. Another one you're using for, marketing research. I don't know, okay? But this is really the key. So let's quickly go through this once more and let's see this in one flow, how this works. So let's say I discover something random, an article. First thing I think about, is it a topic? Is it a key element, or is it a current project? All right, it's a topic, let's say. Well then, as it is a topic, let's move it into the Readwise Read Later app, Reader. Boom, into the topic section, and I just give it a tag with the topic's name. Then I move on, capturing it. It sits now in the Reader Read Later inbox. Thanks to the routines that I have in place, I will calmly go through the inbox later in order to then decide what I will do with this piece of information. That's the beauty about this. I don't have to instantly understand what do I do with this information. That's giving anxiety for many people as well. I need to save it. I don't know where to save it, but I don't want to miss it. Then later on, this is routines, guys. This is exactly why we force routines. So having a routine, going through the inbox and then deciding what to do with this piece of information, understanding, well, it's totally fine. I can discard it. It was not worth it. Especially news, right? Maybe spark something in you, but they are not relevant within 24 hours. So discard it. Or save it in a bucket. And then it's there in your shallow thinking system, ready for you to use whenever you need it. Or you want to further distill it. Fine. Let's do this. That's the processing of your notes that you're taking or the articles that you collected. That's the thought lab. And do I need to take any action? No, but I refined it so it's ready whenever I need it. It's perfectly there in order to use it greatly. And or do I take any actions with the information? Is it maybe something for the team? I don't know. Let's move it on to the action part and decide here. Well, it's actually the action that I want to have this big article as a distilled version in my deep thinking system and perfectly place it on my whiteboard to further develop my thinking or my self-improvements and things like that. Then it goes here. Or is it an action that I need to share something with this, do anything with this? It goes into my task management system. The task management system, I could also make a task in order to share it later with the team. So I have everything perfectly queued up and I don't forget anything. And then I later on share it with the team perfectly in the project management system, which holds the BKM as well, the business knowledge management. And this is it, okay? If you have any questions, let's go to the comments below. Let's discuss this. If you found this video insightful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Or especially if you're not a member yet, join the Paperless Movement membership and check out the whole ICOR journey in order to build up your productivity system end to end. Paco and I, we are personally in there helping you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so I can catch you up next time when we talk about project management and task management. Let me know in the comments below if you're interested to see this next time. Catch you up then.